Welcome back, Renegades. Welcome to Renegade Remission. I'm really excited to have here with me today, Cherie Calbom. So grateful to have you here. And Cherie, you are the author of The Truth About Seed Oils with Liana Werner-Gray. And we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about fats, oils, unhealthy fats, some myths, and some truths surrounding seed oils and how they're impacting our health and contributing to chronic disease and what we can do about it today, right? So we'll jump right into it. But Cherie, welcome to the podcast.
So I love your title, Renegade Remission, and we're here to see you all in remission. And I know you're asking, what can I do today? What can I do right now? Because I work with a lot of people that have different conditions. And it's always, I'm ready. I want to hit the trail running. I'm ready to do everything I can to get well and to stay in remission. So this is one of your tools in your toolbox. And this is going to help you tremendously to go into remission and stay there. So seed oils are originally called vegetable oils. There are no vegetables in them. They're seeds, and they're made from things like cottonseed, soy, corn, safflower, sunflower, rapeseed oil, which is canola, grapeseed, rice bran, peanut oil. Those are the ones that we're talking about today. Why are they bad for us? It has to do with how they're made. So we start with mounds of seeds, whatever they choose. And they go in big vats and they're crushed and heated to very, very high temperatures, like about a 500-degree level. And there's where the problem starts, at that high heat temperature. These are very fragile oils. They're known as polyunsaturated oils. They break apart very easily, and they have double bonds. And those can be broken very easily with heat and treatment. So after the high heat, we have all sorts of chemicals like hexane, degumming agents, defoamers or deodorizers, bleach, things like that to get that seed oil slurry, they call it. If you saw it, it looks real gross. A big vat of slurry. And they want to get that to a clear, odorless oil. And so there is where all of the problems start, with all those chemicals. And how could we believe that anything industrial like that goes through that kind of processing could be good for us? How could it be healthy? And yet they have marketed as heart healthy for decades and told us this is the new modern oil. Ran studies where, yes, LDL did come down, but the people still died earlier than usual of heart attack. So it's like, we've got to use common sense, and common sense sort of flew out the window. It's like, where did it go? But seed oils have been directly implicated in studies linking the seed oils, formerly known as vegetable oils, to heart disease, heart attack, cancer, diabetes, metabolic problems, Alzheimer's, dementia, anxiety, depression, and aggression, and on it goes. All sorts of issues. So that's why we want to get those bad actors out of our diet. You know, we have demonized saturated fats, animal fats, ever since this started in the 50s when heart disease jumped way up. If you look at a bar graph, it was like very small before World War II. Then the tropical oils, like primarily coconut oil, couldn't get through the waters. So seed oil business had been very small prior to that. And heart disease, heart attack, very small. And then they upped the production of the oil, and the marketing efforts and the cookbooks and everything came out right after the war. Another thing showed up, heart attacks. And people were scared, and people they knew were just dropping over dead. And it's like, what's going on? And the government got involved in studies and scientists, and they did autopsies. And yes, they found mounds of fat and cholesterol and calcium and other things in plaque. But nobody said, why are they suddenly getting plaque? You know, this is new phenomenon. Well, now cardiologists and those that study the arteries say it's a wound that's in the artery, and the plaque is covering that. Of course, like a scab would cover a wound on your skin externally. It's doing the same thing internally. And why did that wound start in the first place? What caused that wound? Seed oils. Along at the same time, refined sugar hit the market big time. Sugar. And you know what else hit the market at the same time? Smoking. R.J. Reynolds had big ads, smoke Camels. They're good for digestion. They help calm you. More doctors smoke Camels than any other cigarette. So there was the jingle. Well, those three were a perfect storm for the arteries. Besides the toxic chemicals that are produced from its production, it's the omega-6 to omega-3 imbalances that are creating inflammation in the body. In the news, we have a little bit of a turf war going on because you'll hear in the news, people saying, well, we need those omega-6s in our diet. They're good for us. And yes, that is true. But we are getting way too much omega-6 to the ratio of omega-3 fatty acids. And why is that? It's because the manufacturers of food products are all using these seed oils because they're cheap, they're odorless, flavorless, and they're just easy to pour into products that make them moist or juicy or look good. And so they're in everything just about that we buy in a package or a carton. Chips, crackers, dips, dressings, mayonnaise, baked goods, frozen dinners, and then we eat out. And most restaurants are using seed oils. Seed oils cause oxidative stress in the brain. What is at the root of what we're talking about, Alzheimer's, dementia, cancer, heart disease, on, and these mood disorders, oxidative stress. And why are we also getting faulty cells? So here's a quick little lesson. When we've got our system flooded with these polyunsaturated oils, these seed oils, and the ratio is off, and it's normally to be 4-to-1 to 1-to-1. Omega-6 to omega-3s. And we've got a 15 to 20 some to 1. So our omega-3s are way low and our omega-6s are way high. And that's creating inflammation. It's creating oxidative stress in our brain and at the cellular level. And so we've got a ton of these oils, these polyunsaturated oils in our system. And for many people, that may be the only fat. They're not cooking with coconut oil or olive oil. Some people will have no animal fats in their diet. Well, are we getting the right fats for our cellular membrane structure? No, we're mostly getting the wrong type of fat. The body is going to use the wrong type of fat if that's all it's got. Its goal is to keep you alive. To keep you alive, it's got to have building blocks, maybe even not the right thing, but something to keep your life going. So it's going to use inferior fats, those inferior oils, to create the structure of cells, because things are always turning over in your body. Always new cells, new turnover. If you've got faulty structure for your cells, for your cell membranes, what is that going to do for your health? It is not going to be good. It's like building your house or repairing your house with faulty products. No good, right? We all know that. There are many carcinogens, and these seed oils are one. So if you're battling cancer and you're hoping and praying for the very best, you don't want to be putting carcinogens back into your body. That's where organic comes in, and that's where the seed oils and the sugar and the additives and preservatives and colorings and on it goes. You want to stay away from all of that stuff. You want to stay away from the restaurants that are still proudly using soy or canola or maybe safflower or sunflower, because those are the ones that are linked to cancer. So when you shop, you can avoid them and not buy them to cook your food in. And what can you use? Everybody wants to know, what can I cook with? Coconut oil, olive oil, of course. Olive oil has been around for centuries. Avocado oil. And that's available in more places. Sesame seed oil is good. The two nut oils, almond and macadamia nut oil, ghee, which is oil of butter. And of course, in the news has been tallow. And here we've been told for decades, don't have anything to do with beef tallow. Oh my goodness, oh no. But it is durable. It has a high smoke point. It can withstand those high temperatures, and it's much more durable. And avocado oil is the same. So I still go out to eat, of course, and enjoyment and being with friends is important too for your health. So when you eat out, don't order fried foods because those are the worst of the worst, right? And get things grilled or baked. Be aware of your salad dressing. I love to have main course salads, but be aware of your salad dressing. There are restaurants now that are doing olive oil-based dressings, and you can ask about that. And the more food that you can make at home yourself, where you know exactly what's gone in there, the better off you are in your journey. It's an uphill battle for many people, but you can do it. And the more that you put into it by making your own food, the better off you're going to be, the more you're going to conquer this thing you're fighting. I also want to give you a tool that you can use for shopping in the grocery store, and that is Seed Oil Scout app. And it's on my website. If you go to juiceladyinfo.com and just click on the book, it's right there at the top. The app has a scanner, and you can take it to the grocery store and scan the barcode of anything you're buying, and it'll tell you what's in there. That is a really important tool. Reading labels, knowing what's in our products, because if there's a bunch of stuff in there, you don't know what it is, I'd avoid it. And what are the right products? The right kinds of fats. So you also want to increase your omega-3 fatty acids in your diet. You want to bring that up, and you need that. You need that for brain health. So what's rich in omega-3s? Flaxseed oil, hemp seeds, hemp seed oil, walnuts are very high in omega-3s, and fatty cold water fish like salmon or sardines. So include that. Try to include salmon or another fatty fish. And we want to increase also the vegetables, the dark leafy greens, some ancient grains like millet or teff or amaranth, or a whole grain rice, maybe more of an ancient one like black rice or red rice, and go for all of these whole foods and increase your omega-3s. Also fish oil, very, very good for your brain. And also it comes out on your skin, and your hair looks shinier and you feel better, and you're getting your omega-3s. And then I would say start cleaning out your pantry. So as you use things up, or maybe you don't even want to use it up. I've come to the place of, I learn about something and I go, I'm not using this up. Away it goes. Replace with something good. So those are some just practical little tips for shopping, doing some switch out, some pantry cleaning. And The Truth About Seed Oils, my book, we have a wise shopping chapter. So you can get lots of tips on how to make really wise choices.
Absolutely. For our listeners who maybe are looking at a life-altering diagnosis today, have you seen with these dietary changes any reversal of disease or halting of the progression of disease?
Oh, I have. I'm so glad you asked me that. So I'm going to start with my own story, and that's why I'm here. Why I'm even alive today. I don't think I would be if I hadn't done what I did. So in my 20s, I was really, really sick. I had to quit work and move back home with my father and stepmother. My mother died of breast cancer when I was 6 years old, and I'm sure I was following in her footsteps. I had the chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia so bad, I felt like I had the flu every day of my life. I ached all over. I'd sleep 12 hours a day and wake up tired. I didn't even feel like I had the energy to walk around the block. And no doctor knew what to do to help me. I went to several, and it was like we were getting nowhere. So I thought, okay, I've got to do something myself. I went to a health food store, talked to people there, discovered my diet was horrible, all wrong. I loved junk food and fast food. I hated vegetables. I loved sugar. I was a sugaraholic. Like, yikes, sugar, contributes to cancer directly. They've proven it. Sugar is very addictive, more addictive than cocaine, proven that in studies. No wonder I was sick. Okay, so I said, all of this stuff is going to go. I'm an all or nothing. Let's jump in. Let's really do it. I went for it. I bought my first juicer. I went on a 5-day vegetable juice fast. On day number 5, my body expelled a tumor the size of a golf ball with blue blood vessels attached that looked like somebody cut them, about 4 or 5 of them. I was like, whoa, look at that. I got rid of that. I learned later when I went back to get my Master of Science degree in nutrition, that was angiogenesis, the growth of blood vessels to tumors to feed them. And I also learned from scientific studies, and a myriad of them I reviewed for my master's thesis, Nutrition and Cancer, that angiogenesis is cut off by certain phytonutrients. I call them nature's scissors or God scissors. Luteolin and apigenin are 2 of them, but there are lots of them. Visitin, there's many, many more. They cut off that blood supply, those blood vessel growth, to the tumors. I saw that before my very eyes. They've been cut off. They look like somebody just snipped them with scissors. Thanks be to God. I don't think I'd be here if it wasn't for what I did. But I thought, after that 5 days, I'm going to wake up well, right? I'm going to be fine tomorrow. I got rid of this thing. That's how we think in the West. We do this, we get rid of it, we go on. I didn't wake up well. I woke up feeling as bad as I had before, but I knew I had done something right. So I thought, okay, I'm going to just keep juicing and adding in whole foods. So I did a lot of vegetables and ancient grains. So I had lots of salads and soups and stir fries and some legumes, lentils, beans, split peas. I went vegan for that summer. I'm not now. And it took me about 3 months. But one day I woke up and thought, whoa, I got a new body in the middle of the night. I felt just fabulous, like jogging. And I had not felt well before at all. Like I told you, I couldn't even go for a walk. And so I thought this was the most amazing cure on earth. I can go back to Southern California now, my friends and life and work and back to their way of life. And they were all going out for pizza and burgers and fries and milkshakes. And I thought I could do that too. And my symptoms started coming back. And that's when it dawned on me, this has got to be a way of life. But I learned that I could do this. I could make choices. I could say no. I could order something different off the menu when I went out with my friends. But what could I have? Vibrant health. I could wake up feeling good. No food hangovers, no feeling tired and dragging around, not sleeping well. I could have life. I've worked with so many people, but I want to tell you one quick story of a lady I worked with that came to me after her naturopathic doctor and her allopathic doctor had given up on her. No one knew what was wrong with her, but she was not going to make it. They told her to get her affairs in order. She had gained 50 pounds of water weight just pretty quickly, and it felt horrible. She couldn't even walk down to her mailbox to get her mail. And so her life was looking like it was over. She asked me what she could do, like right away. Was there anything? Yes, I said, there is. I want you to have a big glass of green juice. You make it organic before every meal. She was vegan. Her diet was not bad, really, but she was needing something more than what she was getting. I heard from her 30 days later. Not only was she alive and well, she'd lost the 50 pounds of water weight. She'd chopped a bunch of wood and stacked it. She had cleaned out her garage, and she was walking about a mile a day. I have one more story. It was a lady that had cancer in several places in her body. Brain was one, but several other places. It had metastasized, and they gave up on her and said, you have about 3 weeks before you'll be gone. And she got one of my books, my Juicing for Life book, and decided, why not? I've got nothing to lose. I'm going to just jump in there and go for this juicing program and change my diet completely, and lots of vegetables and on and on. And she said she came to it was 3.5 weeks. So she was a little beyond where they told her she wouldn't be here. And she said one day she felt this like pain and it felt like a ripping sensation going through her body, and a tumor fell out of her body. And from that day on, she made giant progression. And she didn't tell me her story until several years later. And she said, I now look 10 years younger than I did before. I just ran up the steps of the Capitol for something, appointment. Her whole life had changed. Never give up. Never, ever give up.
I love it. Thank you for sharing such wonderful testimonials, including your own. How fantastic. And it leads me right into my next question. For someone who has consumed seed oils for so long, maybe for the duration of their life, I know what they're thinking right now is, but is it too late for me? Can I still undo the damage that I've done? What would you say to that question? Is it ever too late?
It is never too late. And that is my message that I've been delivering for years all around the world. It's never, ever, ever too late. So what happens when you've got these faulty fats that have replaced cell membranes? Well, as I said earlier, there's always turnover in our body. Things are always turning over cellular level. So when you've got the good fats coming in, the good oils, the good fats, now when your cells need to do replacement, they're going to draw on the good fats. So the seed oils have a half-life of about 1.5 years, about 600 days. So don't worry, you're going to go now to the good stuff. And as the turnover happens in your body, it's going to choose the right fats. Of course, it's going to go to the right fats first. And you can make a difference, and you can start feeling better. It's just amazing what can happen. You never know. I always say to people, you'll never know how good you can feel or what can happen until you just try it. We have nothing to lose by making good choices and everything to gain. And sometimes it takes a while. It took me 3 months with my chronic fatigue and fibromyalgia to really notice a difference. But you should notice quickly some positive things, some hope. And Never give up, because as you believe and there's hope in your heart and joy in your soul, and you're thankful for your journey, that has very positive effects on your cells and on your hormones. And like cortisol, that's a stress hormone. As you begin to lower your stress and, you have a positive attitude, like I'm doing all I can do, cortisol is going to come down, stress is going to come down. And those stress hormones are killers as well. So we want to keep that stress under control. So that's why I call it the joy of the journey. Because as we're doing something, that's empowering us and we feel good about it and stronger, and I'm making a difference in my life. It starts here in the brain, in the mind, saying, I can do this. I know I can do it, and I can do it quickly. And I just leave you with a comment one of my clients gave me: nothing on earth tastes as good as good health.
Love it. It's so true. Well, for our listeners, thank you for listening. And as always, go be renegades.